Our next example, again, is going to illustrate these problems may be lengthier, but definitely not more rigorous, just a little bit more in-depth with what we need to do. Now, one of the big differences here, we have subtraction. Remember, when we have subtraction, as we said before, distribute it to your numerator. If you remember back with slope, we can put it in the top or bottom, but this is the big reason why I said throw it to the top, was because the last thing we ever want to do is mess with the denominators. Remember we talked about when we had a negative fraction, we could put it in the top or the bottom, just not both. Throw it to the top and make things easier on us. Well, let's look at what's going to happen now. So when I throw it to the top, it makes it positive. That's not really going to change much because we still need a common denominator. That's just going to clean things up and make it a little bit easier for us later as we're trying to get a common denominator. Now, as we said before, being able to eyeball. I know with the 3 and the 4, it's easy to look at it and go, yeah, multiply by 2 and sit. That's not going to work the same way when we have these polynomials. There's no way to glance and know what we want to do. What we want to do is factor and look for what's missing. The first one factors as, we got 2 t's, factors as, same sign, both positive, 5 and 6, big picture, 5 times 6 is 30, 5 plus 6 is 11. Over here, product of binomials, t and t gives me the t squared, going to be the same sign, going to be both positive, not to be mixed up with those t's. Factors of 20, in this case we want to use 4 and 5, we could use 2 and 10, but that wouldn't give me 9. 4 and 5 add to be 9, multiply to be 20. Now, remember what we want to look for is what's missing. Over here, what I need is that t plus 4. There's already a t plus 5 there. T plus 4 would be what's missing. What do I do to the bottom? Do to the top. Over here, I'm missing the t plus 6. Remember, we're barely even concerned about what's in common. We kind of ignore what's in common. We flip over what's missing. What do I do to the bottom? I got to do to the top. Well, let's look at our next step. With my numerator, I got to distribute t squared plus 4t over, look at my denominator, t plus 4, t plus 5, t plus 6, plus, remember I threw that negative 5 to the numerator, so it's the negative 5 that I'm distributing. Negative 5t minus 30 over t plus 4, t plus 5, t plus 6. Notice again, that's what gave me the common denominator. By multiplying by what's missing is what gets me what's in common. Now that I have a common denominator, what I want to do is add my numerators. I keep that denominator the same, t plus 4, t plus 5, t plus 6, and I look at the numerator. My numerator, well, I have a t squared, that's not combining with anything. I have a 4t and a negative 5t. Remember that I can combine these two terms, give myself a minus t, and then I have that minus 30 as my constant. Now, like all my other rational expressions, I got to check to see if this reduces. This one won't be as bad to factor because the t squared just tells me two binomials, t and t. That's what gives me that t squared. The last problem was more extensive because I had that 2 in front. Anytime you have that leading coefficient, just means a little bit more work or a little bit more tricks and just a different approach to try factoring it. When I have the two t's, that's my t squared. Remember, don't always think that same sign means same sign, because those are not going to be both negative. That minus 30 means I'm going to have different signs. That minus t means there's my bigger of the two factors. Well, when I look at 30, factors of 30, minus 6 plus 5. The bigger number here, because think about if I had 5 plus negative 6. There's my negative 1t. 5 times negative 6 is my negative 30. There's my factored form. Sometimes it'll factor, sometimes it won't. Remember, it's actually good if it doesn't factor. If it doesn't factor, this is my answer. If it does factor, and one of my factors cancels, in this case, t plus 5 cancels, leaving me an answer of t minus 6 in the numerator over t plus 4 times t plus 6 in the denominator. Here's my combined form. Now, before we finish this problem, One thing I want to point out, one of the more common mistakes I see, students will go into Math Excel, t minus 6 over t plus 4 over x plus 6. Remember that if they give us t's in a problem, they'll never give us multiple variables on these. That would only make this ridiculous kind of work. But just make sure whatever variable you have up here matches whatever variable is consistent. It's going to be awfully frustrating to go through all of this work. It wasn't anything more difficult, but it was a lot of work. And to miss it all just based off copying down a variable wrong would be an expensive error. Be careful with your work, that attention to detail.